I found my daughter in an airport parking lot, not at baggage claim, not at the arrivals curb, in the back seat of a dusty SUV, windows fogged from breathing, her 5-year-old twins curled against her under one thin blanket like kittens trying to survive the cold. I knocked. She jolted awake, eyes wide. Then she saw me, and her face collapsed into something worse than fear, shame. "Avery," I said, already scanning the car for danger, for bruises, for anything I didn't want to be true. "Where did the $250,000 I put into your startup go?" Her jaw clenched. "Grant and his family took everything," she whispered. "Then they told the court I'm mentally unstable. They made me look crazy. I'm Jack Halston, 62, widower, and I don't scare easily." But hearing that, I got furious. "Pack your things," I said. "We're fixing this now." "Where are you watching from? And have you ever had to fight just to prove you weren't the problem?" I kept my voice steady for the kids. "Come on," I told Luca and Maya, lifting them out of the back seat. "We're getting breakfast." Maya latched onto my hand. Luca dragged a little backpack. Avery stayed by the car, arms locked around herself, eyes on the pavement. Inside the airport, Tim Hortons, the heat fogged my glasses. I slid the twins into a booth and ordered fast, pancakes and chocolate milk. "You two ever play Quiet Spies?" I asked. They shook their heads. "You eat like you're undercover," I said. "No fighting. If you do it, Grandpa buys a donut." Maya grinned. Luca nodded like he'd been sworn in. Halfway through, Luca looked up, syrup on his lip. "Grandpa, are we still going home today?" My throat tightened. I smiled anyway. "Yeah, buddy," I said. "We're going home." Avery slid into the booth across from me, coat still on, hands shaking around a cup of water. "Tell me," I said. "Started the first lie." She exhaled. "Grant said we needed to optimize taxes," she began. "Clean up the cap table. He said investors hate messy paperwork." "What did he make you sign?" I asked. "Board consents, bank forms, temporary stuff." Her voice stayed low. "After the twins were born, I wasn't sleeping. He'd slide papers over and say, 'Just sign. I'll handle it.' If I hesitated, he'd smile and ask, 'Do you trust me?' And you signed," I said. She nodded, shame flashing, then anger. "Then one morning my passwords didn't work," she said. "Email, Slack, banking, everything logged out. At the office, my badge didn't open the door." "Grant?" I asked. "He texted me from a new number," she said. "Told me to stop harassing the team and calm down. Then a process server showed up at the house." "A restraining order," I said. "Temporary," she corrected. "He claimed I was mentally unstable, dangerous, that I threatened to take the twins and disappear." I leaned in. "You?" "They wrote it like I was a risk," she said. "Postpartum, stress, founder, erratic." It fit the story. "Who's they?" I asked. "His family," she said. "His mom paid for the attorney. His uncle made calls. They kept saying they were protecting the kids." Her jaw flexed. "And every time I tried to defend myself," she added, "Grant said I was proving his point. He'd watch my hands shake and say, 'See, this is why you can't run a company right now.'" I kept my voice flat. "Where are the twins supposed to be?" "With him," she said, "with his mother supervising when I'm allowed to see them." The anger in me went hot and clean. "What about the money?" I asked. "My $250. Her eyes filled fast. "It's gone," she said. "The startup account shows one transfer, Klein Consulting Services. After that, I lost access." I stared at her. "Grant doesn't have a consulting company." "He does now," she whispered. "Or his family does." She hesitated, then said it like she hated the words. "I started noticing things," she said. "A sweet perfume on his jacket. Hotel bar receipts coded as client meeting. When I asked, he laughed and told me I was paranoid. He said I needed help." Across the booth, Maya held up a pancake piece. "Grandpa, donut." "Soon," I told her, then looked back at my daughter. "Listen," I said, "you're not sleeping in a car again. Not you. Not them." Her chin trembled. "Dad, they have money, lawyers." "Then we get better ones," I said. "Pack your things. We're fixing this now." That night, in the hotel, Luca and Maya slept in a real bed. Avery sat on the edge of the other mattress, staring at her hands like she didn't trust them. "I'm Jack Halston, 62, widower, and I don't scare easily." But I was done being polite, not with my daughter. Whatever Grant and his family did to my daughter, I was going to undo it, clean, on paper, and in court. The hotel desk was bolted to the wall like they expected people to make bad decisions on it. I laid out what we had anyway. Avery's cracked phone, a wrinkled folder of printouts she'd managed to grab before she was locked out, and my own notebook. The twins were asleep behind the half-closed bathroom door, a nightlight plugged into the outlet so they wouldn't wake up scared and swinging. Avery sat on the bed in sweatpants and socks, staring at the TV on mute like it might tell her how to undo her life. "Listen to me," I said. "You're not crazy. You're trapped. There's a difference." She swallowed. He made it feel like the same thing. "I know the type," I said, and I hated how calm my voice sounded saying it. "My name is Jack Halston. I spent 30 years in risk and compliance for a bank that didn't survive the last recession. My job was never to be the hero. My job was to find the lie before it became a headline, to follow a chain of transactions through shell companies and fake invoices and smiling people who swore they were just being efficient. Grant wasn't a ghost. He was a file." I pulled out my phone and stepped into the hallway so my voice wouldn't carry. "Samantha Reyes," a woman answered on the second ring, tired, sharp, all business. "This is Jack Halston," I said. "I need you tonight. It's my daughter, high conflict custody, financial abuse. They're calling her mentally unstable." There was a pause. Not surprise. Calculation. "Where are you?" she asked. "Near DIA, hotel by the airport." "Put her on speaker and don't embellish," she said. "I can't help a story. I can help facts." I went back in, set the phone on the desk, and tapped speaker. "Avery," I said, "this is Samantha Reyes." Samantha's voice came through clean. "Avery, I'm going to ask you questions that feel invasive. Answer anyway. Tell me everything. Every password change, every device, every time you signed something, every time he said you were too emotional." Avery blinked hard. "Okay." "When did you lose access to your email?" Samantha asked. 2 days after I signed the bank form," Avery said. "Then Slack. Then my admin access to the payroll platform." "Any alerts on your phone?" Samantha asked. "No," Avery said. "I stopped getting two-factor codes. Like my number got swapped." Samantha exhaled once. "SIM swap is common. We'll confirm." "Next, when did he file the restraining order?" "A week after," Avery said. "He told the court I screamed at him in front of the kids, that I threw a laptop." "Did you?" Samantha asked. "No," Avery snapped, then steadied. "I cried. I begged. I didn't throw anything." Samantha didn't comfort her. She named it. "This is coercive control," she said. "He's isolating you, stripping you of resources, then using your reaction as proof you're unstable. Parental alienation comes next. Then a paper trap, documents you signed under pressure that he'll wave like a flag." Avery's face tightened. "So I'm not imagining it." "No," Samantha said. "And you're not the first. Now, who's helping him?" Avery hesitated. Samantha's tone stayed even. "It's rarely a solo act. He's either got a family office, a lawyer who plays dirty, or a third party inside the company. Someone who can change access, approve invoices, write concerns to HR. Do you have an ops lead? A finance person?" Avery looked at me like she didn't want to say the name out loud. We have a head of operations," she said. "Lena, she stepped in when I was postpartum. Grant called her a stabilizing force." Samantha didn't pounce. She filed it. "Good," she said. "We don't confront Lena. We don't confront Grant. You do not show up at the office. You do not log into anything you're locked out of. No guessing passwords. No angry texts. Everything goes through subpoenas and formal requests. We win clean." I liked her already. Samantha continued. "Here's the next 14 days. This is your playbook." She listed it like she'd done it 100 times, because she had. Step 1. Stability, she said. Housing and routine. You're going to have an address the court can't dismiss. You're going to have school and pediatrician records for the twins. Immunizations, attendance, basic care. Judges love boring. Avery nodded slowly, absorbing it. Step 2. Emergency motion, Samantha said. Temporary parenting time. Not a final custody fight. Temporary. We show immediate harm in keeping you away without evidence. Step 3. Forensic accounting, she said. We trace the startup funds, every transfer, every vendor. Klein Consulting Services is a breadcrumb. We follow it. Step 4. Digital forensics, she said. Screenshots, metadata, device logs. If he fabricated texts, we prove it with timestamps and file properties. If he did a SIM swap, we prove it with carrier records. Step 5. Spoliation letter, she said. Tonight, we notify Grant and the company that all records must be preserved. Emails, Slack, payroll logs, accounting files. If anything disappears after that, the court notices. Avery's voice cracked. What if he already deleted everything? Then he'll keep deleting, Samantha said. And once we put him on notice, every deletion becomes a choice. That's leverage. I leaned over the desk. How fast can you get into court? Fast enough if you do what I say, Samantha replied. Jack, you're the funding and the stability. Avery is the parent. Don't let this become rich dad rescuing irresponsible daughter. Avery must be centered as competent. You hear me? I hear you, I said. Avery wiped her cheeks. What do I do tonight? You sleep, Samantha said. And you don't drink. And you don't message him. Tomorrow we start building your clean record. The call ended. The room felt smaller afterward, like the air had been rearranged into a plan. Avery stared at the desk. He's going to say I'm doing this to punish him. He can say whatever he wants, I said. We're going to make him prove it. My phone buzzed. A new email forwarded from a number Avery didn't recognize. His attorney. Subject line. RE urgent. Safety concerns. One sentence in the body, clipped and smug. Avery Halston is unfit. She is not to approach Mr. Klein or the children. I read it twice, then turned the screen to Avery. Her hand started shaking again. I put my palm over hers, firm, not gentle. Good, I said. He just put it in writing. By day 3, the hotel room started to feel like a punishment. The twins were doing fine. Kids always do when you feed them and keep your voice steady, but Avery wasn't. She kept flinching every time her phone lit up, like a screen could slap her. She'd sit on the edge of the mattress and scroll through nothing just to keep her hands busy. Samantha Reyes didn't let us drift. Hotels look temporary, she'd said on the morning call. Temporary reads unstable. Get an address. Today. So I did. I found a 3-bedroom apartment 20 minutes from the airport. Clean walls, decent light, a quiet complex with a playground that didn't look like a crime scene. Not fancy. Not a statement. Just boring enough to win with. The leasing agent asked, who will be living here? My daughter and my grandkids, I said. I'm co-signing. Avery looked like she might argue. I didn't give her the opening. This is stability, I told her. It's not pride. It's evidence. We moved in with 2 suitcases, a bag of kids' clothes from Target, and the kind of furniture you can build with an Allen wrench and a prayer. The twins called the air mattress the bouncy bed and thought it was a vacation. That night, Avery signed a short-term consulting contract on my laptop. Nothing glamorous, but it put income on paper. The company was a friend of a friend from her accelerator days. Remote work, predictable hours. A person in a position to testify she showed up and performed. Your ex will say you can't function, Samantha had told her, so you function quietly, consistently. Avery stared at the signature line, then signed anyway. Okay, she whispered, I'm doing it. Good, I said, 1 brick at a time. 2 days later, Dylan Cho walked into our borrowed life with a slim laptop bag and the calm face of a man who'd seen every lie money could tell. He was a forensic accountant Samantha trusted, early 40s, precise, no wasted words. I'll need bank statements, he said, taking a seat at our kitchen table. All business accounts, personal accounts, credit cards, anything tied to the startup, QuickBooks Access, Stripe, any merchant processor, payroll logs, and I want copies of the wire confirmations for your father's investment. Avery's laugh came out sharp. I don't have access to any of it. Dylan didn't blink. That's fine. We subpoena. But start with what you do have. Screenshots of the transfers, emails, old invoices, the crumbs. I slid my folder across the table. Wire confirmations, investment memo, the email thread where Avery had pitched me the business with more hope than any spreadsheet deserved. Dylan's eyes moved like a scanner. 250, he murmured. Wire in. Then 1 transfer out labeled Klein Consulting Services. That's all she saw, I said. He nodded, already building a map in his head. Names like that are rarely the end of the trail. They're the beginning. While Dylan worked on money, Priya Nair worked on lies. She met us over a secure video call, hair tied back, glasses catching the glow of her monitor. Avery, she said, I want the screenshots of the threatening texts your husband claims you sent, the ones his lawyer referenced. Avery pulled them up with shaky fingers and held them toward the camera. Priya didn't even need to take control of the screen to know. These aren't native, she said immediately. Avery froze. What do you mean? Priya pointed with her cursor. The font weight is off, the spacing is wrong, and the timestamp format, that's not iOS. That looks like a desktop render, like somebody recreated the messages in a program or exported them from somewhere that isn't your phone. My jaw tightened. So they're fake. They're suspect, Priya corrected, careful. We don't call anything fake until we have carrier records, device logs, and the original files. But yes, these images look manipulated. Avery pressed her palm to her forehead like the room was spinning. They made me doubt my own memory, she whispered. They said I sent those things and blacked out, that I needed help. That's the point, I said. They don't just steal your money. They steal your confidence. Priya continued, I also want to check your iCloud sync history, not your private photos, metadata, shared items, deleted notes, things people forget exist. Avery nodded, eyes glossy. Okay. While Priya guided her through permissions and exports, I watched my daughter's face shift from fear to focus. It was subtle, but it was there, like a light turning back on in a room someone had tried to lock forever. Then Avery stopped moving. What? Priya asked. Avery's fingers hovered above the screen. There was a clinic, she said, voice small. The evaluation. I turned toward her. What clinic? She didn't just call it an evaluation, Avery said. Grant said it was a wellness check to help me. He said if I refused, it would look like I was hiding something. Priya's eyes narrowed. Who recommended it? Avery swallowed. His mom, Mary Ann. She said she knew a doctor who specializes in postpartum instability. Her voice dipped. It wasn't my doctor. It wasn't even my therapist. It was someone she knew. My stomach went cold. What happened? I asked. Avery stared at her hands like they belonged to someone else. They kept writing notes, she said. Every time I cried, it became agitated. Every time I asked to see my kids, it became obsessive. I felt like I was being translated into a different language on paper. Priya held still. Do you have any discharge paperwork? Avery shook her head. Grant took it. He said he'd handle the documents. Of course he did. Priya nodded once. Okay, we'll subpoena the clinic. We'll get the original report and the audit trail if they have electronic records. Don't panic yet. Avery's phone buzzed on the table and she flinched hard enough that the twins looked up from their coloring books. It's nothing, she told them, forcing a smile that didn't reach her eyes. Keep drawing. Luca held up a stick figure. That's you, Mommy. Avery's face crumpled for half a second. She kissed the top of his head and turned away like it hurt too much to be loved. Priya said softly, Avery, I'm pulling your iCloud note index now. A second later, Priya's gaze sharpened. Huh, she murmured. What? I asked. There's a deleted shared note, she said. Title was short, looks like initials. G+L, launch week. It was shared between two Apple IDs. One is yours. The other was removed. Avery's eyes went wide. L, she whispered. Her voice went hoarse. L is Lena. The air in the room thickened. Lena was the head of operations at Avery's company, the woman Grant had praised as steady, the woman currently holding things together, while Avery was painted as a risk. Avery's hands started shaking again, not with fear this time, with rage that had finally found a target. He said I was paranoid, she said. He said I was imagining things. Priya didn't jump to a conclusion. She was careful, professional, but her tone changed. Could be project shorthand, she said. Could be nothing, but it's a lead. And leads are what we need. After the call ended, I told Avery to take the twins to the playground downstairs. Fresh air, I said. And I need to make a couple stops. I drove alone. Samantha had given me a list of people I could contact without turning it into harassment. Former co-workers, vendors, anyone who could speak to Avery's behavior, her stability, and Grant's involvement without a personal vendetta. I picked one name, Tom Becker, a former engineer who'd left the company 6 months earlier. He met me at a coffee shop off Pena Boulevard. Young guy, tired eyes, hands that kept tapping the cup. You Avery's dad? He asked. Yes, I said. He hesitated. I don't want drama. Neither do I said. I want truth, on record. Tom looked toward the window, like he expected someone to appear. Grant and Lena were always close, he said finally. Close how? I asked. Tom exhaled. Late nights, private meetings. Lena would shut the conference room blinds. Grant would show up just to help, but Avery wasn't even there. And whenever Avery questioned anything, they'd act like she was unstable for caring. My grip tightened on my coffee cup. Did you ever see Avery act violent? I asked. Tom's eyebrows shot up. No. She was stressed like any founder, but she was the most composed person in the building. Grant was the one who'd change moods. One day charming, next day icy. Would you say that under oath? I asked. Tom stared at me a long beat, then nodded once. If it helps her get her kids back, he said. Yeah, I will. When I got back to the apartment, Avery was sitting on the floor by the couch, the twins asleep with cartoons paused on the TV. She looked up at me like she was bracing for bad news. It's not bad, I said. It's useful. I told her what Tom said. Avery's eyes closed as if she was trying not to break apart. "So I'm not crazy," she whispered again. "No," I said, "you are isolated." Her voice came out sharper. "And he's still at my company." "For now," I said. "We don't rip the bandage off with our fingers. We let Samantha peel it with the law." Like he'd been listening, my phone buzzed. Samantha's name flashed on the screen. I answered. "Jack," she said. "I reviewed Priya's preliminary notes." And I asked. "And if there's an affair," Samantha said, voice flat and certain, "it's not just betrayal, it's motive and a witness pipeline." I looked at Avery across the room, at my daughter, who'd been reduced to a label on someone else's paperwork. Not for long. "Okay," I said, "tell me our next move." Samantha moved fast, the way people do when they've seen what delay costs. By the end of the week, our living room looked like a war room. 2 folding chairs, a borrowed printer, stacks of paper clipped into categories: custody, money, digital, medical. Avery kept everything in a clean notebook now, dates and times like she was building a case against a storm. Samantha didn't let emotion run the show. She turned it into procedure. "Subpoenas are going out today," she told us over speaker. "Email server, Slack exports, cap table changes, board minutes, payroll, vendor contracts, anything with a signature or a timestamp. If they want to call her unstable, we're going to introduce them to fax." Dylan Cho sent his first update that same afternoon. He didn't use exclamation points. That was how I knew it was serious. The $250K wasn't pulled straight out. It was carved up. He laid it out on a shared screen. A timeline of invoices neat as stitches. "Look here," Dylan said. "Within 72 hours of your wire landing, the business pays 3 vendors: consulting, marketing, and product acceleration." Avery leaned in. "We never hired those vendors." "No," Dylan said, "you didn't." He clicked into one invoice. The logo looked real enough, so did the language, but the address line made my stomach drop. It was a mailbox service. "These are pass-throughs," Dylan continued. "Vendor receives money, then forwards it to an LLC. That LLC forwards it to another LLC, and the final destination." He zoomed in on the last account. "Klein Holdings Management, LLC." Avery's face went pale. "That's his mother." "Family office," I said quietly. Dylan nodded. "And here's the part that matters. Every one of these invoices was approved by an admin on the accounting platform. Me," Avery said automatically, then stopped. But I was locked out. Dylan didn't say her name. He didn't need to. "The approvals were done under your account credentials for the first 2 days," he said. "After that, approvals come from a different admin role, head of operations." Avery's throat worked like she was trying to swallow glass. "Lena," she whispered. The room got silent except for the twins' cartoon playing in the other room. This wasn't just theft. It was theft dressed as normal operations. It was the kind of thing that, from a distance, looks like a thriving company spending money to grow. Avery stared at the numbers. "So, my own money, my dad's money, was used to pay fake vendors. And it wasn't random," Dylan said. "It was structured, small at first, then bigger, like someone wanted it to look routine." I felt my hands tighten into fists on the table. "Is this recoverable?" I asked. "Potentially," Dylan replied, "but you're going to need court orders and possibly criminal referrals. This crosses into fraud." After the call, Samantha sent another message. "We're deposing witnesses next. They're going to have people ready to say Avery was erratic," she told us. "We find out whether they saw anything or they were fed a story." 2 depositions happened over video that week. Samantha let me sit in, not to talk, just to listen. The first witness was a friend of the family, a woman named Kelly, who claimed she'd seen Avery lose control at a birthday party. Samantha's voice was polite, surgical. "Kelly, did you personally witness Avery threaten Grant?" Kelly hesitated. "Well, Grant told me—" "Stop," Samantha said gently. "I'm not asking what you were told. I'm asking what you personally witnessed." I heard she—" "Did you see it?" Samantha repeated. Silence. "No," Kelly admitted. Samantha didn't raise her voice. She just kept walking forward. "So your statement to the court was based on what Grant told you?" "Yes," Kelly said, smaller now. The second witness was a neighbor who claimed he'd heard violent shouting. "What exact words did you hear?" Samantha asked. "I couldn't make out the words," he said. "So you didn't hear threats?" Samantha said. "You saw a man and a woman arguing, and you assumed the worst." He tried to backpedal. Samantha didn't let him. When the deposition ended, Avery sat with her palms pressed to her eyes. "They lied," she said. "They repeated," I corrected. "That's weaker. Repeating breaks under pressure." The affair thread didn't break. It sharpened. "Priya called me late one night. Her voice was low, the way people talk when they don't want to accidentally say something that changes everything. "Jack," she said, "I pulled corporate card records we can access through a third-party receipt app tied to Avery's old admin email. Can you prove where he was?" I asked. "Location data is tricky," she warned, "but we can show patterns. Charges at a hotel bar, same dates as off-site, same hotel where Lena's card shows room service 2 hours later." My skin went cold. "And there's email," Priya added. She sent it to Samantha, who forwarded it to me. It wasn't graphic. It didn't need to be. A short message in a thread titled Launch Week Logistics. "Grant to Lena. Got us a room. Don't stress. Proud of you, love." No heart emoji, no naked photos, just one word placed like a knife. Avery read it twice, then handed my phone back like it burned. "He called me paranoid," she said, voice flat. "He told people I was unstable because I imagined an affair." "Now we don't have to imagine," I said. That should have been the clean win. But Grant was smarter than a normal cheater. He didn't just betray her, he weaponized the betrayal. 2 days later, Samantha called in the middle of the afternoon. "They filed a response," she said. "They're saying Avery's accusations are delusional jealousy. They're claiming she's fixated on Lena, and that's proof she's mentally unstable." Avery made a sound that wasn't quite a laugh. "So, him sleeping with my ops lead becomes my mental illness." "Exactly," Samantha said. "It's an inversion tactic. They take the truth and make your reaction the crime." My blood pulsed in my ears. "And here's the other update," Samantha continued. Priya got something on the clinic report. Avery sat up so fast, the couch cushion shifted. Priya's screen appeared in my email minutes later. A log file, rows of timestamps, and user IDs. "Clinic uses an electronic health record system with audit tracking," Priya explained on a call. "Someone edited Avery's report after hours." "Who?" I asked. "A user with admin privileges," she said. "Not the evaluating clinician. The edits weren't just spelling. They changed descriptive language. Tearful became agitated. Frustrated became unstable. Concerned about children became obsessive." Avery's face drained of color. "Who has admin access?" Samantha asked. Priya zoomed in. "A staff administrator account tied to a name, Diane Phelps." Avery blinked. "I don't know her." Samantha didn't need to look it up to know what it meant. "That's the person Marianne recommended," she said. "The friend at the clinic." The whole thing snapped into focus. It wasn't a messy divorce. It was an operation. Money moved out through fake vendors. Control moved through access changes. Credibility was destroyed through a clinic report that had been edited like a press release. And the affair wasn't just a side story. It was the engine. Lena inside the company approving invoices. Grant outside the company crafting the narrative. Marianne funding the legal machine. All of it feeding one outcome. Avery broke. Grant wins. Kleins keep the money. Avery stood and walked to the bathroom, one hand over her mouth. I watched her go, then looked at Samantha's last text. "Emergency hearing date confirmed. Tomorrow." The apartment was quiet except for the twins breathing in their room, the soft rhythm that reminded me what this fight was really for. I heard the toilet flush. Then I heard Avery gag. I stood, then stopped. I didn't rush in like a rescuer. I waited by the door, like a father who understood dignity. When she opened it, her eyes were red. "I can't do this," she whispered. "Yes, you can," I said, and I kept my voice low so the twins wouldn't wake. She shook her head once, like she wanted permission to fall apart. I gave her something else. "Tomorrow," I said. "We don't beg, we prove." The courthouse looked like every place where people pretend emotions don't exist. Gray stone, metal detectors, fluorescent lights that made everyone's skin look sick. It was cold inside, the kind of cold that gets into your teeth. Avery walked beside me, fingers locked around mine like she was afraid the floor might fall out. She wore a plain navy sweater, hair pulled back. No makeup. Not for show, because she was done performing for anybody. A social worker met us in the hallway and crouched to Luca and Maya's height. "Hi guys, I'm Ms. Jensen. We're going to hang out in a room with toys for a little bit, okay?" Maya clutched Avery's sleeve. Luca leaned into his mom like he was trying to anchor her. Avery knelt. "I'll be right back," she told them, voice steady by force. "Grandpa's right here. You're safe." Luca nodded, serious. Maya whispered, "Bring me back." Avery kissed her forehead. "Always." When the door shut behind them, Avery's breathing changed. One shaky inhale, then another. She didn't cry. She held it in like a knife. Samantha Reyes arrived with a rolling briefcase and the face of someone who'd already seen the ending. "Morning," she said, and it wasn't warmth, it was readiness. Remember, we're not here to convince. We're here to prove. Across the hall, Grant Klein stood with his attorney. Slick suit, perfect hair, a hand on his mother's shoulder like he was a man carrying a burden. Mary Ann Klein wore pearls, eyes calm, like this was a charity board meeting. And there was Lena. She was smaller than I expected. Blonde ponytail, neutral blazer, laptop bag. She avoided Avery's eyes like avoidance could erase a deleted note titled G+L. Grant saw us and gave a tight smile, the kind that said, "I'm still in control." Avery didn't look away. She didn't smile back. We walked into the courtroom. The judge, Honor Elaine Wexler, sat high, expression unreadable. The clerk called the case. Everyone rose. Everyone sat. The air settled into that special kind of silence that turns people into paper. Samantha stood first. "Your Honor," she began, voice even. "This is an emergency hearing regarding temporary parenting time and false allegations of unfitness. We will proceed on 4 pillars supported by documentary evidence." She didn't dramatize it. She built it. "First, stability," Samantha said. "Ms. Halston has stable housing, documented employment, school enrollment, and pediatric care arranged for both children. We have the lease. We have the consulting contract. We have school attendance confirmation and the pediatric intake." She handed up copies. The judge glanced, nodded for the record. "Second, fabricated instability," Samantha continued. "Mr. Klein has alleged Ms. Halston is mentally unstable and dangerous. Those allegations rely heavily on a clinic report and a narrative built around therapy. We will show this report was altered after hours by an administrator, and we will show Ms. Halston's therapy history reflects proactive stress management, not instability." Grant's attorney rose, ready to object. The judge held up a hand. "Let her finish." "Third, the money trail," Samantha said. "Mr. Klein's side claims financial concerns and reckless spending by Ms. Halston. We will show the opposite. We will show systematic diversion of funds from the startup, funded in part by Mr. Halston's $250,000 investment through false vendor invoices into LLCs connected to the Klein family office." A ripple moved through the room, subtle but real. "And fourth, alienation," Samantha said. "Mr. Klein has restricted parenting time based on alleged danger, using supervision as a weapon. We will show the children are thriving, bonded to their mother, and that the supervision narrative is manufactured." Samantha turned calm. "We are asking this court to terminate supervision, reject the unfitness claim, and issue temporary parenting time that reflects the children's best interest based on actual evidence." Grant's attorney stood. "Your Honor," he said smoothly, "this is a well-funded campaign by Ms. Halston's father. Ms. Halston has a history of instability. She's fixated on delusional claims, including an alleged affair, and her behavior—" "Let's get to testimony," Judge Wexler interrupted. "Ms. Reyes, call your first witness." Samantha didn't start with Avery. She started with the lie. "Mr. Klein," she said. Grant took the stand like a man stepping into his own spotlight. He swore in, sat, clasped his hands. Samantha approached slowly. No theatrics. "Mr. Klein," she said, "you filed for a temporary restraining order against your wife, correct?" "Yes," Grant replied, voice soft. "For the children's safety." "You claimed she was unstable," Samantha said. "Yes?" Samantha held up an exhibit. "This is the bank activity from the startup business account. It shows a series of payments to vendors labeled consulting and marketing within 72 hours of Mr. Halston's $250,000 investment arriving." Grant blinked once. "I don't handle accounting." "But you handled safety," Samantha said. "So answer a simple question. Why did these transfers occur before your restraining order was filed?" Grant frowned slightly. "We had planned business expenses." "Planned," Samantha echoed. "Then you'll have agreements. Contracts, scopes of work, something." Grant's attorney started to rise. Samantha cut clean. "Mr. Klein, where are the vendor agreements?" Grant hesitated. "The operations team handled—" "Thank you," Samantha said. "We'll come back to that." She clicked to another document. "While your wife was allegedly unstable, the cap table was changed," Samantha said. "Equity allocations adjusted, board consent signed, new voting rights assigned. You would agree that is significant corporate governance work." Grant's mouth tightened. "I was trying to stabilize the company." "Interesting," Samantha said. "So when she's unstable, you remove her access and alter ownership. When she asks questions, she's paranoid. Do I have that right?" "No," Grant said, voice sharpening. "She was spiraling." Samantha didn't argue. She moved to the next nail. Who approved the vendor invoices after Ms. Halston lost access? Samantha asked. Grant shifted. I don't know. Samantha turned slightly, addressing the judge. Your Honor, I'd like to call Lena Mercer. Grant's eyes flicked to Lena. Fast. A warning. Lena walked to the stand like she was going to a performance review. She swore in, sat, smoothed her skirt. Samantha approached with the same calm. Ms. Mercer, she said, what is your job title? Head of Operations, Lena answered. You assumed certain responsibilities after Ms. Halston lost access to company systems, Samantha said. I helped keep things running, Lena said. Samantha held up the invoice approvals. These were approved under your admin role, correct? Lena's eyes tracked the paper. Yes. Do you recognize these vendors? Samantha asked. Lena swallowed. They were recommended. By whom? Samantha asked. Lena glanced toward Grant before she could stop herself. Samantha didn't pounce. She just waited. Silence does that thing in court. It forces you to fill it with truth. By Grant, Lena said quietly. Samantha nodded. And you approved payments that ultimately ended at Klein Holdings Management, LLC. You understand that now? Lena's voice thinned. I didn't know where the money ended up. But you had access, Samantha said. You had the ability to see vendor addresses, banking details, and invoice patterns. You still approved. Lena's cheeks flushed. I was doing my job. Samantha's tone stayed gentle. Let's talk about your relationship with Mr. Klein. Lena's eyes widened. Objection, Grant's attorney began. Relevance to motive and coordination, Samantha said immediately. Judge Wexler looked over her glasses. Overruled. Answer. Lena's throat bobbed. We're colleagues. Samantha placed an email on the stand. This is an email from Mr. Klein to you during launch week. It reads, got us a room. Don't stress. Proud of you, love. The courtroom didn't gasp. It didn't need to. The temperature changed. Lena stared at the paper like it might disappear. Is that your email address? Samantha asked. Yes. Lena whispered. Is that your relationship? Samantha asked, voice still calm. Lena's eyes flicked toward the judge, then toward Grant, then down. Yes, she said. We were involved. Avery's fingers tightened around my hand, not shaking, holding. Grant's jaw clenched. Samantha turned one page. You testified earlier that Ms. Halston was paranoid about an affair, correct? Lena's eyes were wet now. She accused me. Yes. And you used that accusation to support a narrative that she was unstable, Samantha said, even though the affair was real. Lena didn't answer. Samantha leaned in just a fraction. Did you ever tell anyone in HR, the board, or the clinic that Ms. Halston was agitated or unsafe? I told Marianne she seemed overwhelmed, Lena said, voice cracking. Marianne's pearls didn't move. Her eyes did. Samantha stepped back. No further questions. Then she built the rest. Dylan Cho testified next. He didn't moralize. He displayed charts and timelines, vendor payments splitting, routing, rejoining like blood vessels, ending at the Klein Family LLC. This isn't normal vendor spend, Dylan said. This is structured diversion. And it began immediately after Mr. Halston's investment arrived. Priya Nair followed. She spoke the language of machines. Screenshots provided as evidence of threats show inconsistencies with native mobile capture, she said. Metadata indicates desktop generation. Additionally, the clinic report in question shows after-hours edits by an administrator account. The audit log confirms those edits altered descriptive language to increase perceived instability. Grant's attorney fought, tried to make it about my money, about Avery being propped up. Samantha redirected every time. The question isn't whether her father helped her stand, she said. The question is why her husband tried to make her fall. Judge Wexler sat silent for a long time after closing remarks, reviewing the exhibits like she was weighing something heavier than paper. Then she spoke. This court is concerned, she said, voice controlled, with the use of mental health claims as a weapon. It is also concerned with financial diversion tied to custody proceedings. She looked at Grant. Mr. Klein, you alleged unfitness. Based on the evidence presented today, this court does not find credible support for the claim that Ms. Halston is dangerous to her children. Avery's eyes shut for 1 second, relief trying to escape. Judge Wexler continued. Supervised parenting time is terminated effective immediately. Temporary parenting time will be shared on a 50-50 basis pending further review. The parties will exchange the children pursuant to a schedule set by the court today. Grant's mother opened her mouth. The judge's eyes cut to her. No. The room went still again. Further, Judge Wexler said, this court orders preservation of all corporate and personal financial records related to the startup and associated vendors. Assets connected to the Klein LLCs named in these exhibits are subject to immediate restraint pending investigation. Restitution is to be pursued through appropriate proceedings. She paused, then dropped the last piece like a gavel without sound. This matter is referred to the district attorney for review of potential fraud, forgery, and embezzlement. Grant's face didn't fall dramatically. It tightened like a mask pulled too hard. Avery didn't celebrate. She just breathed. Outside the courtroom, the social worker brought Luca and Maya down the hallway. They ran the moment they saw Avery. "Mom!" Maya shouted, launching into her arms like she'd been holding her breath for days. Luca grabbed Avery's waist and pressed his face into her sweater. Avery dropped to her knees, arms wrapping both of them, holding tight like she was afraid someone might try to rewrite this moment too. Maya pulled back just enough to look at her. "Mom, are we safe now?" Avery's lips trembled. She looked at them, then at me, then back at her kids. "Yes," she whispered, and this time it wasn't hope. It was a fact. 3 months later, the apartment didn't feel temporary anymore. There were crayon drawings taped to the fridge, a shoe basket by the door, a calendar with school pickup times written in Avery's neat, stubborn handwriting. She didn't bounce back. She rebuilt. Avery took a small office suite in a shared workspace, 2 desks, a lockable file cabinet, and a door that closed. The first thing she did wasn't a pitch deck. It was governance. New operating agreement, updated cap table, board resolutions that required dual approval for any transfer over a set limit. Every contract reviewed by Samantha's associate. Password manager, hardware security keys, 2-factor authentication on everything. No more "just sign here," no more "trust me," or her new business bank account didn't have Grant's name anywhere near it. Grant lost his role at the company within weeks. Investors don't like headlines, and they like audit logs even less. The DA referral turned into interviews, then subpoenas, then the quiet panic of people who thought their paperwork would never be read by someone who understood it. Lena disappeared the way side characters do when the plot catches up. LinkedIn wiped, phone disconnected, a lawyer answering emails with one sentence. "My client will respond through counsel." She was still subpoenaed, still on the record, still part of the trail. I moved into a condo 10 minutes away, not to hover, to be close. On Tuesdays, I took Luca and Maya to the park after school. On Fridays, we did pizza and Jenga on Avery's living room rug. Luca liked chess because it made him feel older. Maya liked Jenga because she enjoyed watching me pretend I wasn't nervous. One night, after the twins fell asleep on the couch, Avery sat beside me and stared at the stack of court papers on the coffee table like they were a scar. "I really thought I was the problem," she said quietly. I didn't argue. I just said the truth. "Grief makes you soft. Paper makes you safe," I told her. "Don't win loud. Win clean. And if they call you unstable, don't scream. Document." She nodded like she was storing it somewhere deep. From the hallway, Maya's sleepy voice floated out. "Grandpa, don't let it fall." I smiled into the dark. "I won't, kiddo." "Where are you watching from? And have you ever been gaslit so hard you started doubting your own mind?"